Hey, happy Friday. As most of you know, I am very clearly pregnant. I am 27 weeks, measuring 30 weeks, feeling a little apprehensive about that. But I want to talk to you about my appointment and kind of how things went on there. I go to the doctor like 40 minutes from home, and because we had a bunch of other errands to run, my husband and our oldest daughter were also with me for this appointment. I know the algorithm will try to silence me anytime I talk anything medical, and so let me just tell you, this is not medical advice, and I'm just going to trust that this will find whoever needs to hear this. I also should lead with, my doctor is absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate him. The nurses are really good. It's just they only know what they know, right? Like, they're given a schedule, and here's what you're supposed to do. You're this far along, here's what you need. And that just doesn't work for everybody because we are all so individual. Like, we have our own genetic makeup, and we can't just do things like everybody else does. If you have already done these things in the past, please do not feel any guilt or shame or anything, and just know I probably have too. So first thing, the nurse comes in and she sets down the glucose bottle and a shot. And I was I just looked at him and she's like, "Do you have time to do the glucose?" As she starts to try to open it. And I was like, "No, thank you. I'm actually doing the A1C, which is another way to check your blood glucose, which is more accurate than drink this liquid, even though we don't know what your glucose started with, and we hope we can see how well it spikes you." I personally don't want to intentionally spike my blood sugar. I have had that before in the past. I've gotten very sick from it, and so then my last couple pregnancies, I just did my A1C, which is definitely an okay option to do as well. What gets me about this and this whole, I haven't been to the doctor for quite a while, but the whole process of they just assume you're gonna do it. They just start to open it or so then the next thing she was like, "Okay, well, let's go ahead and do your shot." And I'm like, "No, thank you." I don't need to give an explanation of why I don't want to do it. My answer is no, thank you. And she was like, "Okay." And she could already tell by this point, it was not going to happen. I was firm, but I wasn't rude because there was no reason to be rude about it, right? And I did not mean to make her uncomfortable in any way, but I could tell that I had because I had disrupted the flow of how it's supposed to go. And so she's like, "Well, I guess I'll just take these things out and go get the doctor then." And I was like, "Thank you." So the doctor comes in, didn't mention anything about the shot, and he was like, "I would like you to do your glucose. Are you not doing that?" And I'm like, "No, thank you. I did do the A1C however many weeks ago." And he's like, "Well, I'd like you to do it again." He explained why at this stage of my pregnancy he'd like to see this done again, even though I just done it, I can't remember if it was 4 or 8 weeks ago. He explained, I explained, and I was like, "Okay, I can understand where you're coming from. Can I do this through direct access testing, which is where you go to the lab and have it done yourself rather than them ordering the test because it is significantly cheaper?" And he's like, "Yes, absolutely. That's so much cheaper." I just want to encourage you, when you are getting medical care, work with your doctors. Don't go in defensive, absolutely against everything they want to do, but have an open conversation. So first of all, you need to show up knowing, what are my beliefs? What do I think about these things? And if you're not sure, there was a couple tests that they wanted to run that I was like, "I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Would it be okay if I do this the next time I come back if I decide to?" And they're like, "Yes, that is fine." There's one that they're like, "No, we actually need to run this earlier." And I'm like, "Okay, well then, no thank you, I would rather not." And that's okay to do. You are the patient, but you are not a prisoner. You are in charge of your medical care. You are in charge of your body. You have choices. Long story short, I am very thankful for modern medicine and the interventions that are possible if needed. Also, though, be informed. And if you aren't informed, it is okay to say, "Can I come back another day after I've had time to research this?" Because you only get one shot. YOLO. You only live once. Do it right.